Well, here's another species of grass I can't identify, but sure someone else can. Looks very similar to this. It's right here near the border, the western border of World Peace Wetland Prairie. It's behind that tree line, behind the fence, goes up to that, almost to that dog cage up there. But anyway, here it is. Wish I could say the name of it for this, but maybe we can find out later from an expert. That's what information we like. That's what comes from an expert. Plenty of those around right here at the University of Arkansas. Now we're just south of that stake, which indicates the border of a road that will go a street, run through those willows, across that little stream, go straight out for a ways and turn into those posts there, which are the fence marking the western end of 12th Street. And we'll lead people out to South Duncan as the plans were passed by the Fayetteville City Council. There it is. This has been brush hogged at least once this year, so the wetland area up here does not have all its native species. They keep trying to come back. They get brush hogged every year, but not as often as they used to. The price of fuel probably has something to do with how often they brush hog these areas, such areas. Tiny purple. Look at that. And other native species approaching bloom. And another very special grass. Very special. See the triangular leaves. And the little center that may have been quite more beautiful earlier. It's still beautiful, even though it's suffering from the dry. It's probably a wetland plant, certainly a native species. Silk fence supposed to go there. We don't know whether that's the east or west side of the road, but it's probably the west side, the east side. Road's uphill from this. More species getting ready to bloom. I don't know what tall grass this is. Is that Johnson grass? Oh. What is it? An expert can tell us. Like it's a native species. Let's move quickly. Another interesting piece of grass. Various stages. Some of these species are quite different. Just a few days change. Oh, some little pink blooms. Very nice. Very nice. Nearby, some young willows. This probably has some underground water. They wouldn't be that green because it didn't rain for a couple of months here. Ah, Another native species. It's relatively rare these days. Here's the same plant about to get a seed. We missed some of the stages. This stem's already deteriorating. Seed pod, one seed pod's opened already. That's unfortunate, but there'll be others dropping seed. Maybe they'll survive, but it's awfully close to this road it's coming across, so it's probably within the area they'll clear. They love to clear big swaths. I do love this plant. This little grass. Really beautiful. But when it comes to prairie, it's the tallest grass people are impressed with. Whether it's native or non-native or all that wonderful or not. And this is close to 6 feet tall. So surprising it's there. It grows that much in the summer. It's this dry. After it had been brush hogged at least once this year. But it did. There it is. Let's stand of it over here. Slightly different species. Oh, same species in a different stage. Oh, what is this? First year in my time living in this neighborhood that you could stand right here and see downtown, or well, you could see some of those buildings sometimes, but there were tall trees between here and downtown. Some really big, nice trees, and you couldn't see the 6th Street traffic. You couldn't see the overpass or underpass. Railroad passes over the street. Street passes under the railroad. I always enjoy the way people play with those words because both of them have some logic. Looking back down there toward World Peace Wetland Prairies at the end of this stretch of row of pine trees, double row, and it extends over to the corner where the dog pen is there. Oh, a different tall grass, and it's about 3 feet tall in this dry year. So it's wonderful to be able to see grass that hasn't been destroyed by brush hogging and ridiculously frequent mowing. Can do. Headed uphill toward the railroad. See, back to 6th Street. As we say often enough, it was a shock that they cleared the side of the railroad. How could the railroad allow that? Say, well, maybe they bought this land that close to the railroad. Maybe that's true, but why would the city allow them to do that? Why would they want to do that? Are they going to fill that back in with something else? You're going to plant some trees to replace these, because nearly all of those are going to die. They've worked all around their roots. Not sure why they left them standing. You can't survive in that shape. Unfortunately, that's true of some of the big old trees that are scattered across there. There are very few. There's probably a dozen of the quality trees remaining on this west side of this property, and almost there's none really except at the entranceway at 6th Street on the east side of the creek, and that's what you're looking at there. You're looking across the town ranch of the West Fork of the White River all the way to 6th Street. From what used to be the extension of 11th Street came up here, so that's 5 blocks of devastation. And they got so close to the trees they did leave that their future health is certainly in doubt. See that this 11th Street extension would, if it went straight on across the creek through Hood and Powell's yard and straight on and continued, it would go to the National Cemetery. See the flag. And there's the Mill District from here. Now this is Pinnacle land. Those houses are on 12th Street. That area from there and there across, that's World Peace Wetland Prairie, part of the city park system, nature preserve portion. And there's downtown Fayetteville, which you couldn't see at all in the summertime from here, and almost not at all in the winter, but now you can see all the way there. This was an erosion-proof railroad along here. It all looked like this, except it had more trees in addition to the grass, natural vegetation. And this was a wetland prairie area that connected to the wetland prairie, World Peace Wetland Prairie, and to the wetland prairie that was in this trailer park area. But now, this is no longer erosion proof. In fact, it's ripe for erosion, as the developers of Aspen Ridge hired crew members, folks to do this work, and I guess told them to bulldoze everything out all the way to the railroad, because that's what they did. So they took trees out, grass out, And you can see rocks have already tumbled down from the railroad. So you couldn't see out of here, plain and simple, as it was before. Now down at that stretch of fully vegetated edge, that's World Peace Wetland Prairie to your right, and that's the brown top tree that's recently died, killed by the drought, we assume. Although it curiously started the year when the adjacent development started. And it would have had to be protected if things had been done right, because it had been protected in the tree plan by expert Kim Hesse for the city a couple of years ago for the development that was approved on the what's now World Peace Wetland Prairie. So, but it's dying. It's not going to get better. But those of us who looked at the plans before just did not see anything to suggest they were going to even bother anything up here close to the railroad, because obviously the houses or the condominiums will be built a little further away from it. Now they do show a strip of fence, but how high would a fence have to be to prevent the noise of the train going by? And the vibration, of course, is louder because of that. I mean, it's stronger because of that. So this is a totally unexplainable destruction of the surface. You can understand that they're going to dig a hole and they wanted to take the concrete and the topsoil out in some places and the blacktop of these old roads. But why in the world? Why would they work up this close to the railroad? Just to torment people who live down there, I guess. It's going to bother the ones that live closest the most. That's the irony of it. Well, you're looking at the A&M Railroad and Pinnacle property, and then World Peace Wetland Prairie, now city property, and a dove flying. Trying to figure out what happened to all the trees and grass and all the things that are on that land. And downtown Fayetteville is real close to this. Mount Sequoia is real close to this. And here's a ditch. Replaced some natural washway maybe when they built the railroad. I'm not quite sure. The water runs this way, I believe, here. And something we didn't know about was the destruction of the timber on this land. Now, why was that done? Well, my guess is simple. This land's for sale, I imagine. And a lot of homeless people lived here free, as they, by definition, do, being homeless people. And of course we got some things popping up that weren't here since they've done this. I don't know when they did it. I don't know who did it. But homeless people aren't here anymore because it's not got any shade. There's not any shade in here anymore. They've just cleared it all out. I would say the purpose was to thwart the homeless people from using it. So, people who do this, do they donate to the shelters? Or they build some bigger shelters so people don't live in the woods? It's not a bad thing, living in the woods. People who lived on this land more than 100 years ago lived in the woods. And a lot of people like their city being built in the woods, not having the woods removed to increase the size of the city. And I bet some of them are still trying to live here. It's just the sites of their camps have been changed drastically, I'm afraid. Not a pleasant situation for the homeless people. Not a pleasant situation for the wildlife. It's all about desolation and destruction. It's a beautiful area. It's hard to walk through. You had to duck and twist. All kinds of beautiful vines, understory vegetation where birds nested and roosted. Lovely area on the side of Rocher Hill. Well, you got some tall grass growing down there. And trying to turn it into a sloping prairie with wild prairie vegetation. It's coming in to replace the larger vegetation. What foolishness to destroy these cedars. Now this Willie Road down toward the railroad, more of this is done. I guess somebody thinks they need to build something up here. Wonder who's bought this. Hope it's not the same people who destroyed all that down there. That would truly be sad. That's some lovely trees along the periphery still. No more homeless in here. Took care of that problem. Well, good. Aren't we a loving, caring city of Fayetteville? That we allow this to happen for no good reason. No good reason. And you see, this is not what you call really stable soil. It's going to wash out nicely. It rained for the first time today in months, basically. And that butterfly likes that beautiful purple flower. This might be a form of mint. Similar to it. The flavor's not very minty. Here's some tiny white blooms. Nature's trying to cover this up with some beautiful plants, but it's going to take more than one dry summer to do the job. But things are growing. Native species and non, whatever's brought here by the birds or whatever. Beautiful up here. Now see, you can see all the way to the town branch of the West Fork of the White River from here. See the silt fence and the tree protection fence. Interesting that this occurred at this time. You see all the way to the top of the hill. You could drive around that field up there and not see down here any place until now. It's occurred in just the last few months because I haven't been up here in a couple of months to see this. So it's sometime since late spring, early summer. One of the complaints that's valid against a certain number of homeless people is they leave their debris. Of course, part of that debris was part of their campsite, covered and stuff, and it's been pushed down here to get it out of the way. But the people that cut the trees don't bother to clean up the trash, and they leave the brush piles are actually good because certain animals can use those, but they've radically changed the food supply and the amount of cover here. Not good environmentally, not good anybody's habitat here, human or otherwise. Here's a little drainage area. Comes off Rocher Hill and enters the trailer park and crosses to town branch of the West Fork of the White River and through the town branch neighborhood. And it's been filled over with brush. I don't know how that's going to be resolved. Hope they don't decide to have fires up here. That would be pretty unpleasant. But the way it's gone lately, they can get away with it. See the old barbed wire fence there. Boy, oh boy, look at this. Pretty woods, but see, they left these trees, but the machines work so close to them, they whack every one they work near. And that could very well kill it. Maybe not this year, maybe just in a few years from now. That's the pretense of preserving trees. Just hit them with a bulldozer, a lick or two. Not even a big gash, just a little cut so infection can enter. And you can be pretty sure you won't be bothered with that tree later. Well, yeah, we're back where we can see the old trailer park area that's been cleared for the west portion of the Aspen Ridge development. And here's one of the little openings that the homeless people had used until their secret hidey hole was cleared out here. Well, the police knew about it. Every now and then, police were called, so they could chip in and say, well, you know, the homeless people up there caused a lot of petty crime, and maybe some major crime now and then. But that doesn't mean we should destroy the environment or even penalize all these homeless people who are not criminals. Many of whom are not criminals. They would be homeless. They'd do some criminal activity and buy them a home. But no, it's not the way we think. Around here, the official policies are to eliminate people who are homeless from the area if possible, and provide only the minimal amount of shelter and aid that the law requires, just to keep them from being a bother to anybody by living in the woods. Quite harmlessly in most cases. Well, you can see how many trees are cleared. If you've ever been here before, you'd know. It's hard to estimate the actual number. Tree report doesn't show all the small trees growing, the young trees that would have been there. Just showed some of the big ones that the developer of Aspen Ridge paid to have done on the land. The guy who did the work for him said to me when he was leaving, said, well, I don't know why they wanted to do this, because they're just going to cut them all down anyway. But he knew, he predicted this, but it's turned out a lot worse than we thought, because they went further in every direction than they had to, destroying vegetation, including getting a corner off World Peace Wetland Prairie, which would be that wooded area right down there, behind the silt fence. The water that collects on the west side of the railroad flows down off Roche Hill. It goes under the railroad in a big culvert right here. And it comes from both directions uphill. And comes out this spot. Another of the examples of the handiwork of people long ago. And look, erosion. Just what you'd expect when you take the vegetation off the edge. Oh, great. Doesn't take much disturbance to make the gravel and rock fall out. And there's where it falls in up there. You can't even see that spot. See how shady it is on that end? Very little light gets in there. Of course, a person could crawl through this And I wouldn't want to be under there when a train came by. I wouldn't really trust it to hold up. These roots are trying to keep that embankment in, and those rocks are trying, but another potential danger spot. There's water will fill this up before it runs out now. Why they push the dirt in here. Incredible lack of understanding or concern of the people on the ground. There's nobody supervising them that knows any better or to tell them not to fill in this drainage area. So that drain went down off through there. That was sloping, but very much prairie area till the trees started over there, and not where those are now. There were trees about 200 or 300 feet back this way from that existing tree line there. But that was a little prairie stretch, and this flowed down through it. Well, the prairie stretch probably started right in here, went all the way to the creek. A lot of vegetation. There's one of the 3 cypresses in a row there. There were 4 total that I recall. And they left one. We don't know why. It was a wetland spot, as was all this land out there. It led into the World Peace Wetland Prairie at that corner down there. And people who built that street along there originally left cut a little low place with water run across, and there was a ditch on the other side, but basically it was supposed to be flowing on down through World Peace Wetland Prairie. And we'd like it to do it again, but people who live below there will probably be grateful they've messed it up now. Otherwise it might put more water on the prairie than they want at one time. So, more of the homeless, because in dry weather, I'm sure some of them slept in here. They left a lot of their stuff around here. I never saw anybody sleeping in there, but we knew they had beds in that other big culverts along the creek. I wouldn't want to be in there this morning, because I bet there was a rush of water for a while. Railroad embankment's already done some eroding today after the rain, I'm sure. Just caves in there. It's predictable. We were pretty close to the track. How can they have authorized this? Some assurance that it'll be reinforced later. Why were dozers all the way up here undercutting the embankment? You have to wonder what type of thought went into that. And if they build houses or condominiums near this, are they at risk if the railroad fails to hold its position properly? What will occur? They didn't leave much timber along the stream bank, town branch of the West Fork of the White River, and only a few scattered trees. And the largest, thickest part of those are on the part that's dedicated as a city park. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Never seen so many trees that deserve protection that have been removed. It's just incredible. At least not in Fayetteville, Arkansas, home of the used to be strong tree ordinance. We thought it was too weak before they weakened it, after they lost the lawsuit over the coal store development site out there at Steel Crossing, adjacent to the mall. Well, they've got a mess here. There's the beer distributor on Hill Avenue, and to the right of it, Drake House. Probably haven't been able to see this far over here from this railroad to the Drake House, since the Drake House was new way back in the 1800s. And Hoodenpile's barn, and a little few little trees in the park area, and then the scattering of trees. And there's the old house that's been restored over on 15th Street. See it from over here now. That's interesting. Couldn't see that a while back because there were trees, solid. Oh, here. Oh boy. Yeah, there's what they call the alternative crossing. Some call it a railroad spur, but even the old timers don't remember it being in a railroad spur, so we're not sure. It'd be awfully steep for a railroad, but it connected to that railroad, so what was its purpose? To get up on this railroad from over there. It's pretty obvious, but was it really a spur rail or not? That's the question. Here's Hooten Palace Barn, and the light colored things in the background would be our house. From the railroad. World Peace Wetland Prairie, over that way. Nice, they've left these trees. Hope they don't change their mind like they apparently did about some others that they left on at first. Even had tree protection fence around them, or silt fence on the side to protect them, and they came and attacked. So this is their official tree preservation area up here. Not many good trees, but all trees are good when you're down to this view. Anything that'll keep the soil stable. Now you can see the Drake House real well. The railroad. Hope they don't change it much. It's been sold. Developer's going to build on the 2 acres behind and allegedly keep that house and make it into something nice to rent, condos or something. But it should still be a single family dwelling. The richest people in town should want that building because it is beautiful. Oh, this is steep above here. If they clear the vegetation off this side, it'd be tumbling down into the railroad, wouldn't it? Oreo in the bushes. Have not been paying attention to birds on this walk much. They're trying to get angles, show the devastation of the forest and so forth. But there is one of the denizens of the forest. Couldn't be happy to see these changes. Just almost as pretty as your pet canary, maybe a little more so. Benefiting from the wildflowers and the railroad edge. Collecting seeds, neat and hardy. I'm out very happy to see the rain. You don't see these when you're riding down the train. Scares most of them before the train gets close. This is what you see if you walk the track. It's a wonderful nature area. Railroads do us a service by maintaining these right-of-ways. Wish they hadn't sold the ones that go through this Aspen Ridge property, because now the vegetation's been cleared off and the trail will be the treeless trail. Speaking of which, treeless trail will come under here. We hope it won't be treeless here along the creek, but they're going to have to move all the railroad ties and things, so there's a chance they'll destroy a heck of a lot more of the trees getting this stuff out, and it's going to just be even more treeless. I believe I can actually see the water reflected underneath there. Yep, it's flowing under the trestle. So that's it, straight out that way. Treeless trail. You can see out beyond the willow edges, it's treeless. And when they said that was going to be part of the trail, we thought it was going to be fully vegetated. Oh, we knew they'd mess with it and pave the top of it, but had no idea they'd take the existing trees and nesting and roosting habitat for the birds out of there. The other side of the trail, of course, is right down there, and the creek goes under just a little further up here. It flows from that way, coming off the university campus, and under this railroad, and under that trestle, and then through a big culvert out that way, and then down through the Town Branch neighborhood, through the Aspen Ridge property first, to get into the Town Branch neighborhood, the old part of it, the nice part of it, and flows down the Town Branch to the West Fork of the White River. It's sad. Sad, sad, sad. Looks like a bumblebee just lit on that flower. That plant's what we call a maypop, isn't it? All the bees are going to visit these. This big boy really likes it. He's as big as bees go of any kind, but around here, but that flower's pretty big. Must taste pretty good. Another part of the beauty of the railroad. Natural. Yep, he found another one. Didn't like that one as well. Went down lower. Well, he didn't like that one because another of his friends or relatives was already there. And there you can see maypops hanging. Near the flower. Purple flower. But now we go out and find some white blossoms on a different plant. They're close relatives and they grow close together, and for all I know the two vines could be intertwined and have both colors coming out of the same stem or appearing to. This is one of the delights. May not be a native species, but they're a beautiful species. Somewhere on here, oh, I see water, so we're almost above the outlet for the creek. That's the big pool, now creek there, where the creek comes under the railroad. Look what a deep red these trumpet flowers are. There's vines everywhere along here too. And they are lovely, truly lovely. Still looks good up the railroad. In this part at least. Bad boys didn't get to it, tear it up. There's the old Bates School over there. Not so pretty, but it was a good school. Now it's a part of the university, or part of the high school, excuse me. See how close we are to 6th Street now. And there's the overpass. So we've about seen majority of this place. But we're going to see it all from another angle here. We'll see the east side of the creek from over here. And there's one of the delightful spots is right back there where the creek comes under. There's the Moody house. Let's see. Back of the Moody house. The railroad. You can see all that beautiful vegetation that hid that area is gone. You can see the pretty part of it, but you wonder why you have to see it from so far off. You wanted to see it? You're always welcome to go and visit those people. And Leroy and his brother and sister. We're always glad to share their place with people. Right here across from the campus, university and high school, intellectual center of the state, the university there, and we're treating the environment this way. Nicest wetland you can imagine. Ringstrand. Deep down there. Magnificent wetland. We photographed it from every angle when it was full of water and so forth, but you couldn't see very far. All about trees. All about trees, wetland vegetation. It's all radically changed. Some say for the good. I say for the bad. And I know the birds and all the wildlife that use this area agree with me. Even if those who would develop and profit from this land think they've done the best thing. Well, railroad and Pinnacle Food Facility, and the west side of the creek cleared. It's visible from here. You can see the silt fences and the tree preservation fences over there. And then you see the alternate crossing with the big red, big orange fence, and then the actual east-west railroad, which is near two of them form a V right down there. And so that's what we call treeless trail. And we have treeless wetland area, also known as floodplain, also known as overflow area of the town branch of the West Fork of the White River. And there it is. We tried to tell people how low it was, and now they're trying to hide the fact it's low by putting a lot of fill dirt in there, because it was no lower than a stream bank, and had little rivulets running through it, as you can see in some of our photos of the woods down there. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wonderful machines. Wetland. Somebody's checking out the area. Little dog's a little confused. The camera's flashing. His or hers. Can't tell if it's a man or a lady from this distance. Yes, that's their vehicle parked out there. She's out there looking down at the creek. I'm glad somebody's seeing this, maybe their first time. Maybe they never knew that was out there. Maybe they think this is pretty special, they can get there. They could have been there all along. That's the sad part. Well, it's interesting. It's quite an adventure first time, especially if you didn't know how beautiful it was before it was clear. I imagine if they're environmentally astute at all, they know that it's a disaster. Stupid shame, but what can you say? Well, there's the little drainage area. Little creek that went down beside the trail. That would be the trail. Just to the right of the screen, in the center of the screen, is the little ditch that ran down there and spread out to feed a lot of water from up at Government Street and Sale Barn area all the way down to the town ranch. And interesting thing, there used to be a tree in that little V there, and it's been removed. Yep, here's the creek. It's muddy, as it should be after rain, and the water can't flow directly down. Partially, it's absorbent soil for the most part, and it's going to actually absorb most of that little rain we had. Wasn't that big, actually. Yeah, those folks are enjoying it. And if they realize that was high quality wetland, maybe not. Drake House. Folks have moved out. They haven't got all their flowers and things. Not a good seed appearing in the yard. Drake House. two ladies named Drake who used to live there and now moved away. Wow. So do y'all ride the Texas A&M? I knew about that before. I had forgot about that Aggie stuff. So y'all tow this so you can ride that somewhere? Or?
No, I broke down.
Oh no.